And good evening, moron. This is a once, almost never, ever done before. It could be the first time ever. This is a live JNEWS with my guest tonight. Throwing to you, Jason.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason, and I am a sumo aficionado. Some might say expert. And I have my own sumo channel here on YouTube, Jason's All Sumo channel. And we are in the midst of history making sumo at the moment.
Yes, and as you can see, I used to be a sumo wrestler. I've come down quite a bit. Of course not, just kidding. But it's possible because I'm a foreigner.
Yes.
And that's why we're here tonight, because in the last, I'll tell you what the little I know, and Jason can fill in the spot, the pockets of ignorance that I'm sure I possess, because I'm a moron. I'm the king of the moron. So,
you are.
Thank you for that vote of confidence. So, in the last 10 years, I didn't know it was this bad, but in the last 10 years, apparently there have been no native-born Japanese sumo wrestlers who have won even a basho, which is a tournament, a basho. By the way, we'll be mentioning a few Japanese terms, which I will put in the description. Because this is live and because we're on a time, this is a very timely issue. We got to get this out as soon as possible.
Yes.
I'll be adding any of the Japanese terms in the description only, and nothing here, just our beautiful faces.
Okay.
That's correct, right? 10 years.
That is correct. In January of 2006, Tochi Azuma, a former ozeki, which is the second highest rank in sumo, won the basho. Since that time, there have been, I believe, 59 basho since, because there was one where it got canceled because of the tsunami and some things going on. There has never been a Japanese-born rikishi, a wrestler who has won the Grand Sumo tournament.
In the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years.
Right. Okay, which is amazing. Now, I came to the sumo world. I first started watching sumo when I first got here 25 years ago, and that was the days when Chiyono Fuji was still around.
Wow. Just
when he retired. So I was here in the golden age, I think. Do they have a name for that? Is it the golden age of sumo? Because it should be called.
It's certainly the modern golden age. Absolutely. Right. You know, he is of course, he's like Michael Jordan. I mean, you know, he's the yokozuna of all time. I think Chiyono Fuji. Some might argue that the current yokozuna Hakuho is now the new best ever. Right. And certainly his numbers better. But that's an argument that people always have in sports.
That's like who would win, Tyson or Muhammad Ali, right?
Right. So, you know.
But anyway, so what happened in this basho, and I have not been following sumo for a long time. I used to follow when Takanohana and Wakanohana back in those days were big. And of course, the Americans started taking over. I think it was the first time we had an American yokozuna, which was Akebono.
Right, Musashimaru, Akebono, we had...
Akebono was first, and Musashimaru. And who never got it was Konishiki.
Konishiki, yeah.
Konishiki never got it, but very high, who went up to ozeki, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had a few Americans... We haven't had Americans in quite a while. We have a Canadian that's actually coming up through the ranks right now. Right. He's in the 4th division down, so he's got a ways to go before we see him on TV.
And I have no idea what the 4th division is called, but we're going to get to that.
Okay. But mostly it's been Mongolians. And a few Eastern Europeans in the mix, and of course lots of Japanese wrestlers who have done very well but have not been able to win the whole darn thing.
Yeah, I've met Akebono quite a few times. He used to work out at my gym. He's a huge man, and I've met a couple of Argentinians. You know, in an izakaya once, they were sumo wrestlers. And they were wearing their I guess not kimonos, but what do you call those?
I actually don't know the name for what
maybe yukata. Maybe yukata.
Yeah, probably. It's like that.
Like a thin kind of kimono, but...
They're not allowed to wear street clothes.
No. But, except when they're working out or something on their side, right? I think I've seen them, like, in pictures and stuff, working out. I mean, hanging out. When
they're at their...
Like wearing sweatshirts and stuff.
When they're at their gym, as it were, with the other guys, they're allowed to wear, like, shorts and a T-shirt. In their off time, but if they go outside where the public can see them, it's like a geisha. They have to wear the cloggy slippers and and they have to have their hair up. And
like geisha, they're not allowed to wear underwear. I understand. I'm just pulling that out of my butt. I have no idea. No idea about that. Could be true though. It would make sense.
Could be true, but I doubt it.
So but in the last 10 years, there have been no Japanese. Basho winners. Now, to explain, there are 6 basho. You corrected me here before.
Every odd-numbered month. So
every odd month. Okay, good. Tell us about how many bashos and all that.
So we have a basho 6 times a year, every odd-numbered month. Every other basho. Excuse me.
Beginning with always January though.
January is the hatsubasho, or people sometimes call it the winter basho, but it's really The winter basho is actually the next basho, even though it doesn't feel as much like winter in March.
Right.
But every other basho is also in a different city than Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
One is in your hometown of Nagoya. That's the
summer
one that's
basho.
July.
We call it the hatsubasho.
Right. So if it's not in Tokyo, then they use the season.
I see.
So the March basho is sometimes either the winter or spring.
Really? They say spring, huh?
The Natsu basho is the summer tournament in July in Nagoya, and the Aki basho is the November basho in Fukuoka.
Mm-hmm. But there are other
The other three tournaments are all at the Kokugikan, which is a stadium specifically built for sumo in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a 15-day tournament. The guys have to fight every single day, 15 days back to back to back. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very difficult. And it's basically, two guys go up, one wins, one loses. They get a point if they win. They get a win if they win, and they get a loss if they lose. And it's whoever has the most wins versus losses at the end of the 15 days wins the cup.
And how common is a perfect bowling, a 300?
Perfect score is called a Zensho Yusho.
Zensho
Yusho.
Yusho is win.
Yusho is champion.
And Zensho is the whole thing. Zen's everything.
So Zensho Yusho is perfect 15-0 record. Hakuho is the current grand champion yokozuna, the highest rank.
He's been yokozuna for 5 years? More? 6?
2007 or 8 he became yokozuna,
okay.
So
7
a
or 8
little
years.
bit longer than that. Yeah, 7 years.
Okay.
So
and he's Mongolian.
He's Mongolian. And so he has the most of any, he has the most Zensho Yusho, perfect 15-0 records of any rikishi in history. I believe he has 9 or 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a miraculous year one year where he had 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back and was going for a record of 69 wins in a row.
Wow.
But he got stopped at number 63.
Oh.
And that is the modern record for most consecutive wins. He beat Shionofuji, who you mentioned, who had 50-something in the modern era. The guy who has 69 is a wrestler from back in the 20s named Futubayama, who, it was a totally different type of bracketing and system. Mm-hmm. They only had 3 basho a year, and they were 12 days, not 15.
It's
and
like home run records. It's hard to...
It's hard to compare. Yeah.
Right.
So... He has been so dominant, Hakuho, is one of the reasons no Japanese rikishi has been able to win. No rikishi, period, has been able to win. He's now got 35 Emperor's Cups to his name, which is the all-time record, number 1 of all time.
Yeah, so imagine, it's hard for I think for us as Westerners to imagine what this means, but it's like winning a boxing championship 5-6 times a year.
Right.
But I mean, not every one, but winning. How many did you say? 59.
There's 6 basho. There's 15 in each, so there's 90 matches in a year, and sometimes Hakuho wins something like 85, 86 of those matches. It's amazing his ability.
There's no way to compare it really with anything because we don't make people do. We don't make people fight for 15
almost
days
like
in
tennis.
a row.
Tennis is a solo sport where you play multiple games leading up to a championship.
Right.
But, obviously they get days off in between and the matches are way longer. Sumo is very, very short most of the time. Yeah. But still the consistency of just having to go out and, you're going to make a mistake.
Right.
To go out and win.
It's so quick that, it can just turn on.
Yeah, it's an amazing feat. And, a lot of Americans or Westerners in general, when they first see sumo, it's just big fat guys in diapers, hitting each other. But it's so much more than that when you watch it and get into it. And there is a lot of strategy and athleticism, etc. Not all the time. Some of the guys are just big and fat. There's no doubt about it.
No, but no one's just big and fat. They're all extremely strong. All of them.
Absolutely.
Extremely strong.
And, I mean, Hakuho is a good athlete. I mean, he's obviously tall. Yeah. He's a good basketball player. I mean, these guys have...
How tall is Hakuho? He doesn't look that tall compared to the other sumo wrestlers that I see.
Yeah, until you see him in person. I got to high-five him one time at a regional meet here in Shimane. Uh-huh. He walked by me and was nice enough to give me the high touch. And he is a big man.
And you're a big man, too. You're tall.
I'm 6 foot, so 183 centimeters about, and obviously big. But he's, I want to say, about 187 centimeters, so he's not that much taller than me.
Not that much taller, but it's still big, yeah.
But
now, they used to have a minimum height requirement to be a sumo wrestler. I think it was 5'10" in the old days.
It
They
was
still have that?
175 centimeters. Or so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and there is one guy who, oddly enough, in this tournament has a chance of winning, Toyonoshima.
Oh, really?
He took a special test because he's about 173 centimeters, I think.
Just under the line, right?
And he is currently, he won today, which is the 14th day of the tournament. We have one more day to go tomorrow. And he is currently at 12 wins and 2 losses.
Oh, so he could possibly win.
He could be in a playoff and possibly win, and he is also Japanese.
Wow. So let's these fights are they're shorter than Conor McGregor fights. They're extremely short.
They often last less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, faster than a well, I can't say Ronda Rousey anymore, but they're extremely fast. Now, what happened was this. I never heard of this guy, but there's a Japanese wrestler named Koto. Hold on, let me see. Koto Shogiku, is that right?
Right.
And he, until the 12th day, he won 12 in a row, and then on the 13th day, he lost.
13th day, Friday.
Yesterday he lost, and it was like, everyone was like, oh my god, because he beat Hakuho, right? Like a few days before that.
He not only beat Hakuho, he did something no ozeki has done in almost 25 years, which he beat all 3 yokozuna ranked above him in a row on back-to-back days. He beat
No way!
then
I didn't know that.
then Hakuho in a row. And people were like, that's it. You know, he's gotten all the heavy lifting out of the way. Now he's got 3 relatively easier, lower-ranked opponents in matches. And unfortunately, he just messed up on the 13th day.
Right. So he lost on the 13th day, which may put him at the same rank or same
wins and losses. The same record as Hakuho.
Okay. I don't even know what the word to use, but it's truly a Cinderella story for another reason, and that is that he's getting married right after this.
Yeah. I mean, and that was obviously planned, and it wasn't like, oh, now he's doing well, let's get married. No, I mean that was just serendipity.
But that would be such icing on the cake of his wedding.
And he's been in ozeki for a long time. He's wrestled for a long time. He's in his 30s. I forget. I want to say he's around 33, but I'd have to check. And he, he's a long-time figure. He's got a large belly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's a big. He uses this kind of belly bump technique that's kind of his signature.
Oh, really?
To get people out of the ring. They call it in sumo. They call it hug and chug. You grab the opponent's
and move forward.
Mawashi. It's called a mawashi. The circular belt.
Mawashi, right? Okay.
Clothing they wear around their loins, and he kind of bumps them and chugs them out of the ring, and that's a very, very common kimarite winning technique in sumo called yorikiri, which is a frontal force out where you have your opponent's mawashi in your hands and you force
just carry them out basically.
Yeah, over the straw bales on the dohyou.
Okay, the dohyou, by the way, is what we call the Japanese ring. Right, and it's something that's been it gets quite a controversy from foreigners because it does not allow women.
Right, no women are supposed to touch it after it's built. It's a raised clay square, and then in the square they construct a ring out of these straw bales that are embedded into the clay. Right, and then that ring is, in the rule in sumo, is pretty much anything's legal. You just have to get your opponent to touch the clay surface with anything but their feet.
Outside of the ring.
Or outside. Push them outside.
Oh, outside, right. Clay
so
surface
they either have
inside
to go down or outside. A guy got in trouble today, though.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really cool.
Can't do, which is grab.
Well, before that, the guy, the foreigner who lost. Although he actually succeeded in pushing him out of the ring, but his feet touched.
Yes. Torinaoshi at komusubi, the rank of komusubi.
Please visualize this fight for the people watching.
had an opponent today, Takada Fuji, and he was doing the yorikiri maneuver where he had him. He was forcing, the guy was walking backwards as Torinaoshi was walking forwards, and they said that Torinaoshi went out first, and yet you can clearly see in the video replay with the close-ups and the slow-mo that the guy's heel came over the straw bales and touched the sand outside the ring first.
Oh, you think so?
They have a judges' conference for that. It's called a mono.
I saw the video, but to me it looked like there was a foreigner and a Japanese guy, right? Or an Asian guy, right?
There was.
Yeah, it looked like the foreigner was touched before the heel to me. But it was definitely more of the foreigners. The bulk of the touching was by the foreigner, but I couldn't tell who was actually first. But I mean, if you think about who actually won the fight, it was the foreigner. I mean, he was on top. He was dominating.
Exactly. He was the aggressor.
Yeah.
And even in that situation, the judges in sumo have the option of doing a torinaoshi, which is a do-over.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
really?
they're allowed to...
Torinaoshi, yes.
Yeah, allowed to call for a replay, a rematch, right there on the spot.
Wow.
And in those close situations, I think a lot of fans wish they would do that more often. But the gyouji, the judge, the referee that's in the ring with the two wrestlers, has to point his fan, his gunbai, either one way or the other. He's required by sumo rules to declare a winner. So
either way, okay. Then what's the fan called?
Gunbai.
Gunbai. The Goomba. Okay, the Gunbai.
And if it's like a flat wooden plaque, right, with a tassel.
I think it looks very similar like this to this, right?
Yeah, it's just broader on the outside, and it has a tassel hanging from it. Yeah. So he has to point one way or the other. So if the judges, there's 4 ringside judges and a timekeeper that are sitting on each corner, each side of the dohyou, and if they decide you made a mistake, it kind of is like a black mark on that judge's card. You know what I mean?
Really? Okay.
So they don't like to overturn the judge. They often will say gunbai dori, which means that we agree with the judge. He made the right call. And then sometimes they overturn. And then they can also just call for a rematch, which kind of lets the judge off the hook a little bit.
Right, okay.
Yeah, today I think it was clearly, I thought the guy, Tochinoshin, should have won. And unfortunately for him, that was his 8th loss. So it's a 15-day tournament. You want to get 8 wins. So 8 is more than, more wins than losses. That's called a kachikoshi. And he got a makekoshi today because he's now 6 wins and 8 losses. So even if he wins tomorrow, he can't have more wins than losses for the whole 15 days, and he'll be demoted down in rank out of his current komusubi rank, which is a fairly lofty rank in sumo.
But he'll be demoted for only have one makekoshi? Doesn't he have to have a couple?
No, there's no leeway except for ozeki. They're the only ones who get kind of this second chance, as it were. It's called being kadoban, and the current ozeki Goeido will be kadoban in March in Osaka. So that means when he comes back in Osaka in March, he must get 8 wins or more. If he doesn't, he gets demoted down a rank from ozeki to sekiwake. So they get like 2 chances. Yeah, and then they have a special
what exactly does kadoban mean?
To go back up.
So what does kadoban mean? It's an actual rank?
It's in danger of demotion.
Oh, okay. In danger.
It's a status. You're in kadoban status.
Oh, I see.
For that tournament, meaning if you don't get your 8, if you don't get your majority wins, you will be demoted.
Okay. All right.
So
we had a couple of interesting bouts even before the big bout. Everyone was waiting for the Kotosho Giku bout.
Right.
Before that, there was a guy who grabbed the back of the head of another wrestler.
Right.
And the judges declared that he broke the rules.
Right. So he Goeido, that's the Ozeki Goeido, he won that match. And
I thought he won it.
The guy stepped out of the ring as they were battling at the edge. And they said that, when his hand went around, you're allowed to touch the back of the neck and try to force the guy down. But they said he went up to the head and grabbed hair. And that's one of the few illegal things in sumo. You're not allowed to obviously poke the eyes. You're not allowed to kick the groin. You're not allowed to punch with a closed fist. You're allowed to slap with an open. And
that can hurt. That's got to hurt. I've seen that. Those slaps are amazing.
And pretty brutal sometimes. Yeah. And so they had a judges conference, and there's no do-over in that situation. They just said, "Look, you broke the rule. The other guy gets the win."
Right.
That was. And again, it's hard to tell from the replay.
Right.
You can go either way, and they decided to go against the ozeki, which was a little surprising.
Right. Well, look. Do you have a video of the actual matchup yet, or?
On my sumo channel, I'll have. In fact, all the matches we just talked about.
Oh, great.
The guy forcing the guy out. The Goeido with the hair, and of course Koto Shogiku's match from today, Hakuho's match from today. They're both now
Are they all separate matches or all one long video?
No, separate 5-minute videos.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, so people can watch, in little chunks. I have about 8,000 subscribers now, and some people come along, I think, and just watch their favorite wrestler. Some people watch the whole slate from whatever I put up for that day.
Right.
Sometimes I do put up 2 big 12-minute videos that have every match from that day in very, very quick edited fashion.
Right. Yeah, because if you wanted to, you could probably watch the whole day in 10 minutes.
Right. NHK do a show that's on at 3:45 a.m. for some reason, where they do just that. They take all 20 matches from the day.
That's called the Journal?
Upper Division. Yeah, Sumo Digest.
Oh, that's it. Sumo Digest, yeah.
And I take...
Is it that late? I don't remember being that late.
Yeah,
it used to be earlier,
on
right?
3 in the morning.
It used to be earlier, wasn't it? Don't they show it the next day too or something? I used to watch that. I don't think I was watching at 3:45 in the morning, though.
Well, a lot changed with the way NHK shows sumo after 311 and the yaocho scandal. They really changed how much they show and when they show it, etc. So,
yaocho, by the way, is throwing a match.
Yeah.
And there was a scandal a few years ago.
In 2011.
Okay, well, pretty recent. Yeah.
So, yeah, it corresponded with the great earthquake and tsunami we had in eastern Japan that March.
Wow.
So they were going to cancel the basho pretty much anyway because of this scandal, to kind of regroup and decide what to do. And the tsunami made it redundant. It was obviously going to be canceled at that point.
Okay.
And anyway, so they I lost my train of thought.
They canceled it. The yaocho. What are we talking about? The digest. They showed it 3:45 in the morning.
So they show it in the morning, and they take all 20 matches, and they just boom, 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 boom. Just the tachi-ai, which is the initial clash, and like you said, the batches are very, very fast, 10 seconds for most of them. They just show the winners and losers, and in about 25 minutes, they do the entire kind of what takes 2 hours live.
Yes.
And they condense it down. So it's a very helpful show, but you have to have a DVR or something to tape it because nobody's awake at that time of the morning.
Right. Yeah. Well, today was the 14th day, and Koto Shogiku won, and Asashoryu, no. Hakuho. Asashoryu's gone. That's the old guy. Hakuho lost.
Yes.
Yeah, which means
surprising.
Yes, surprising, and it looked almost like he didn't even try. But of course, on replay, I looked at it again. It looks like he tried, but the
unfortunately, there are some people that are saying that this match or this basho, because it's the 10-year anniversary, there's a little bit of rigging going on that maybe the Mongolians are holding back to allow the Japanese to win. And I do have a lot of subscribers on my channel from other countries because they want to watch sumo in English.
Right.
And they want to watch it, they can't watch it live from Japan time because it's, 3 in the morning in their country or whatever.
Right.
And I have a fair amount of Mongolians that post on my YouTube videos.
Really?
They're very nationalistic and prideful, and that's fine. But I don't really like that idea.
Yeah. Well, we could argue that this is a very nationalistic event in Japan, too, because I have old women in my classes who say, we never watch sumo, but we are really rooting for him to win this time because we want a Japanese winner. And you can't blame them.
Every time a hopeful Japanese wrestler, we had one named Endo recently, very attractive young guy, came up. Everybody thought, wow, he's the next hope. He's kind of fizzled. And but Japanese people really get behind these guys that are native-born Japanese, hoping that because the grand champion is the yokozuna. We haven't had a Japanese yokozuna since 2001.
Wow. That's
even longer, Asashoryu was the kind of bad boy Mongolian. Yes. He was yokozuna for a while.
Right.
And then...
that's what your T-shirt says, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, your sweatshirt.
My T-shirt says... And then, of course, Hakuo, Haramafuji, and Kakuru are both yokozuna right now. They're both Mongolian. And we've had a few champions. Kotooshu, Baruto, they've been from places like Georgia and Estonia and Bulgaria.
Yeah, he's huge.
And
they're all huge, right?
What can you do? There's just no Japanese has stepped up. And so finally this guy, Koto Shogiku, everyone is going to be in the stadium, is going to go crazy nuts if he wins tomorrow. If he wins, it's over. He wins the cup. If he loses, there could be a playoff with other wrestlers that are also 2 losses. So it's all in his hands. If he wins, he's the champion.
It's his to lose basically tomorrow.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah, he just got to stay on track. He'll be fine, right?
So history making.
And it's exciting.
I've only been watching sumo since 2000, late 2004, but mostly I got into it in 2005. So, and 2005 was the year that Asashoru, the yokozuna, did something no other yokozuna has ever done, which is win every basho in a calendar year.
Really? He did that?
7 in a row from the previous November and an entire 6 calendar year.
I didn't know that. So it's been done before.
I watched sumo. I just thought, oh, well, Asashoru wins everything. And then this guy Tochi Azuma came up and won in January of 2006. And I thought, okay, now we're going to have a mix. And, you know, but in Japan, no other Japanese has ever won in the entire time I've been watching sumo. And so it is history making.
Yeah, it is. And just so people get an idea of what this is like for Japanese, a couple things. I wanted to make a couple comparisons. It's like when the Canadians won the World Series. You know, just all the Americans are like, ugh. And it's how I used to hear. I don't hear this anymore, thankfully. But I used to hear like white people joke about the fact that they don't. Oh yeah, Rocky. Rocky is the only the only place where a white person could ever be the champion. You know, heavyweight champion. But so it's a pride thing. So you kind of can't blame them for getting behind this. I don't really think it's nationalistic. But I saw today on the news they had a wall showing the faces of every winner of all the bashos.
Right.
And it was almost all hakuho.
Yeah, so in the Kokugikon, it's a square building. There's 4 sides, 8 portraits hang on each side, 32 of them. And every other time they come back, they hang the 2 new portraits. The previous time from Tokyo and then the new basho that wasn't in Tokyo. And so this past basho, they took down the final Asashoru painting, and now it's almost all hakuho, and there's no Japanese rikishi in the rafters at all. And there's, I think, one Baruto portrait is hanging up there, and it's there's a Kyokutenho up there. He's another Mongolian who won in a very quirky match one time, and then of course a few Haruma Fuji and Kakeru and other people. But there are absolutely no Japanese in the rafters at all. And it's got to be tough to be a Japanese fan and walk into your national sport.
Yes.
And look up and nobody from your home country is represented.
It's a little bit like when judo was okayed for the Olympics and then they didn't clean up. I don't remember who won, but when judo finally became a
it'd
sport.
be like, Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid. Let's say, he gathered a whole bunch of Californian, scruffy blonde-haired kids, and they came over to Japan and won some kind of karate competition.
Right.
What are they doing here?
That'd be pretty embarrassing.
So the Japanese would be embarrassed, right? It's their sport. They invented it. They propagate it to the world, and here come these interloping foreigners, and they win.
At the same time, when foreigners first became yokozuna and started winning, I was really I'll admit I was kind of happy. Like, yay, that's cool. Like.
Yeah, and
we're mixing it up. It's getting more interesting, right? But
no Japanese could have predicted that it would be this long. That there would be, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Sumo is very hard. It's a very hard life.
Yes,
guys have to come up through a very hierarchical, strict system. You're treated like a dog. And
to be fair, they do limit the amount of foreigners who can get in.
Right, and the Japanese people say, they'll even tell you that Japanese boys, especially now in the past 10, 15 years, are a little soft. They don't have the drive and the desire and the will to do this strenuous, hard life. And these guys from other kind of scrappy countries like Mongolia or Estonia really want it. And
or Canada.
Have a guy from Egypt that's come over.
Yeah,
Osuna Arashi from Egypt, and he really wants it. And some of these foreign guys,
these guys are monsters. Yeah,
they really want it. And the Japanese guys, we haven't had a guy come up that seems like he really, really wants it. The guy on the rise right now, who's not in this tournament because he broke his collarbone, is Terano Fuji, but he's Mongolian again.
Oh.
So he's probably going to be the next yokozuna. Everybody predicts that this year he'll be the next yokozuna.
Oh, really?
It's not Japanese, so it's hard for the Japanese fans, I think, especially if you're a longtime sumo fan, to get into it and support it when there's, you want one of your own. Right. It's like if you watch tennis. I love to watch Wimbledon. I love to watch the Australian Open, but there's no male tennis player in forever. We haven't had a Sampras or an Agassi in forever. It's all Nadal and Federer and Andy Murray and Nishikori from Japan.
Right.
I mean, we haven't had a dominant male tennis player in forever. So maybe it takes a little bit of the spark out of you watching that, where you get to kind of...
No, you're right. Yeah. And the Japanese do try to limit the foreign influence by, I think you can only have 2 foreigners per heya.
Right.
The heya is called a stable.
There's only about 35 foreign-born rikishi in upper division sumo.
How many total?
It feels like there's a lot, but there's not. How many
are there total?
Very
How
well.
many sumo wrestlers are there total?
Well, in the makekoshi division, there are 4 big ranks: yokozuna, ozeki, sekiwake, and komusubi.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 guys at yokozuna, 4 guys at ozeki. That's 7, and then 4 more for the other 2. So that's 11. And there are 15 maigashira ranked wrestlers, east and west. So that's 30. So that's 41. And then they sometimes have another guy at maigashira 16, which they did this tournament. So there's around 42. In the upper division.
Oh, I see.
And then there's a Juryo division right below it, which again has maybe, I think...
A lot more, right?
About 25 more.
Okay.
So
if you go to a sumo tournament, all the lower level guys will be at the beginning, and the great guys, the top, the headliners will be at the end.
Right. So the TV doesn't even start their coverage most days until 3 p.m., which is the start of the Juryo division.
I didn't know that. I thought just nobody watched them. I thought they were showing it all.
They used to, but after 311, they stopped.
They did used to. Okay.
Yeah. They used to show it from like noon.
Right. Hey, we should wrap this up because I don't know how much patience everyone has, but I would like to ask you to do one more thing for us.
Okay.
And just fill in the blanks. I know yokozuna, the sweatshirt that you're wearing right now. That's yokozuna. That's the top.
That's the top.
Then I used to think ozeki was the top because they have a sake called ozeki.
Oh, really?
Right? They have a sake called ozeki. So I know yokozuna, I know ozeki, and then how many ranks are there total? 5? 4? 5?
In the top tier, there are 4.
Okay, there are 4. So what are the other 2 called?
Yokozuna on top, ozeki next, then sekiwake.
Sekiwake. Okay.
And then komusubi.
Komusubi. Sekiwake.
And the komusubi and sekiwake are called sanyaku.
Sanyaku. What does that mean?
It just means like you're above the fray, you're above the rank and file now. You're in the kind of echelon of the top guys. I'm sure there's privileges and salary bump, things like that go along with it. If you're a sekitori, that means you're a salaried rikishi. Rikishi is any wrestler. A sekitori is somebody that gets paid, and that's only the Juryo guys and the makuuchi guys, the top 2 divisions. Everybody below that lives at the behest of their coach. They don't get a salary. They probably get like an allowance. But when do they spend it? I mean, who knows how much free time those guys get.
Right.
And, so, the yokozuna does very well. He gets a good salary. He gets endorsements. And he gets a lot of money at the end of every match. There's banners that go around for advertising, and he gets money from the sponsors in these envelopes.
It can be an amazing amount of money. Yeah,
it can be. Yeah. Tomorrow it will be some big money.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance, go check out Jason's channel, which is called. What's the name of the channel again?
If you just type in Jason Sumo, I think on YouTube you'll find it.
What's the name of the channel?
Jason's All Sumo channel.
Jason's All Sumo channel. Okay, we'll have a link to it in the description. Check that out. I'm putting this up with no subtitles at all. I'm just going to throw it up for you. I will work on the what's it called? The words in the description. So for those of you who want to pick up some vocabulary, you can check there. If you find a mistake, please let me know. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks, Jason, for helping me with this. I definitely couldn't have done it without you because I know a little bit, but not nearly as much as you do. It was a pleasure to meet Jason. We went to a sumo match a couple of years ago.
We did.
And I hope we get a chance to do that again.
And I am rooting for Kodo Shogiku tomorrow. My favorite wrestler is Haruma Fuji. I've known him for a long time. He's always been my favorite. I also root for Okinaomi because he's from Shimane-ken.
You got to root for the local boy, right?
Shogiku tomorrow to win it all.
Yeah, I hope he wins too.
It happened.
I'm a traitor. Call me a traitor, but I hope he
wins. Go Kodo Shogiku.
Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.
Talk to you soon.